Hello there, and welcome to The Woman Within, a podcast for the woman you are beneath all the roles. I'm your host, Nicole.
And I'm your co-host, Sarah. We invite you to slow down, tune in, and make some much-deserved space for yourself as you listen and reflect on today's episode.
If today's conversation speaks to you, we'd love to stay connected. Join our mailing list for updates and future offerings. You can find the link in the show notes below.
And one more small ask to help us grow. If you think this episode would resonate with someone you know, please share. Let's dive in.
Let's do it. Last time I talked to you through voice note, you were feeling like particularly sensitive. Where are you at right now?
I think what I said to you is some version of healthy volatility. You know, where it's like emotionally anything could set you off, but like in a good way. I feel less volatile, but still raw. But yeah, I mean, just ego checked, kind of.
Ego checked in what way?
I think because not last time. Was it the episode I think we did before where we talked about Theo? And like, you know, after weaning and he's been like so much better with his behavior. And then, you know, just being like, oh, I spoke too soon.
It's still right there.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm just like, ugh. My ego is like so relieved and happy and like, okay, great. We're moving on. That was easy. Done. Bye.
Right.
And now I'm like, yeah, it's just ego checking that way. How are you? How are you
There's
feeling?
more there for you.
Oh, totally. 1000%. So much here for me.
You're potty training.
Yep.
And Theo's back to being more physical and how do you describe it?
I mean, yeah.
I want to say aggressive.
Aggressive, but like now, I mean, I definitely feel like it's a slightly different expression than it was like before. I feel like, yeah, he's like irritable, sensitive. But yeah, it comes out as aggressive for sure.
Do you feel like the regression back into this form of, I'm going to call it regulation, because, you know, witnessing it from the outside, he'll be chill and happy, holding onto a ball, looking at Rhea, smiling. And then it's like he tries to engage, and then it's almost like he short circuits or he gets like overwhelmed by what he's feeling and then lashes out, right? Like it seems like it's a form of regulation or engagement.
Yeah. I mean, this is like silly, but real. He's been doing the same thing with our dog, where like Ace is on the edge of the carpet and then he'll just be like, no, 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 Ace, no, 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 and like grab him or something. So I feel like he's definitely feeling things inside of his body. The past several days too, he's also been like I can tell he's teething and he's growing. I'm like, oh my God, like you're huge, dude. Like you're bigger than this potty now. And so, and that doesn't really matter what it is, but I definitely feel like I think he just has feelings and emotions. I don't know if it's like so specific as like engagement or not. I think it's just like he's sensitive to other people and other beings when he doesn't know how to handle what he's feeling inside of his body. And you know, it's like, it's just so hard at this age to know exactly what's going on because, you know, I was editing the podcast, our last one where Rhea came in with your mom and she's in the microphone and Theo was like watching it and he was like, Ray, 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 Ray. You know what I mean? So he definitely, same with Rhea, like, you know, Theo like attacks her and then she like wants to hang. She's like, Theo's here. Like, let's go over and play with them again. You know, it's like it's just interesting because
they don't have the,
no, it's not like he doesn't like Rhea or he doesn't like other kids. I think it's more of a him thing. And it's funny too, because I'm just so grateful that I feel this way about it this time, because when my mom was here, when we started potty training, I got to a place with my mom being around where I was like, I just need you to leave, Mom. Like, I just need you, like, I'm having emotions and it has nothing to do with you for the most part. Like, this is just, I'm moving through this new wave of emotion, because of Theo's behavior coming back around. And it's like not specific to my mom, but I needed space. I was like so irritated with her being there.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm like, oh, maybe my son is like kind of feeling
Mm-hmm.
the same way about whatever it is, the change of potty training, whatever, if he's growing, if he's teething, like, again, not the point, but yeah, so
The change of potty training
just
on the heels of a lot of change
totally.
as well, moving, weaning. And it's just crazy. Like their lives he's only almost 2. So it's like, that's a huge chunk of his life that has just been, yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, my question was, I didn't really finish asking it, but you kind of got there. How do you feel different this time than when it was initially happening? Because when I talked to you about potty training, you were like, potty training is not the thing that's stressing me out. Whereas, like, for me, I was like, this is crazy stressful. For you, it's the regressed behavior and how obviously, it was a surprise to regress back to this behavior. How is it different for you this time than the first time?
Well, so, I mean, this time I have the experience of seeing him, I don't know what we want to call it, like, good. Like,
Mm-hmm.
just having bandwidth, I guess. Being able to be around other kids and just be so regulated within himself. So great, like see his light, see his best self, right? So I have that. So I'm like, I know it's possible.
Yeah.
And I know there's like, again, I don't feel like there's anything wrong with him. And so there's that perspective that helps me. What was just so, I mean, it was just the initial like, oh my God, it's happening again. That
Mm-hmm.
was so
Mm-hmm.
hard, those first several days. And, it was at gymnastics on Tuesday. And then you guys came over Wednesday morning, which I needed. Like, I needed to see for sure where we were at. And so, but then after that experience with him not doing well with Rhea, it was just like I was saying at the beginning where my ego was checked. I feel like I just wanted to shut it out and forget about it and move on.
Yeah.
And, you know, spirit, source, universe, God was like, excuse me, it's not how it works. And honestly, it's been a catalyst for me to move through those emotions,
Yeah. Yeah.
and release and like action, and not just with that, but I feel like everything since I've become a mother, like, is starting to actually move through me and release from my body and like that tension, that I feel like I've subconsciously been holding on to in my nervous system. And um and actually so we were voice noting a lot, or we had several chunky voice notes to each other following those days. And also I was listening to a podcast. The podcast I listen to these days is the That Was Us podcast from the show This Is Us. It's a
Mm-hmm.
rewatch podcast with 3 of the main characters. Anyways, it's just kind of lighthearted. They talk about their lives. It's like super enjoyable. They're all parents, and so it's good, easy, but like meaningful conversation. But anyways, they were talking about an episode where one of the characters, I think her brother died or something, and she was seeking counsel from her aunt, and her aunt was like, you can give your pain to God, but you have to let it go. Like, you have to be the one to let it go.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh my God, that's what's happening to me.
Mm.
Because there's been so many times where I'm like, I want to let go of all the stress, blah, 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 blah. And I said that, I think, on the pod before. But now I'm like, oh, I have to actually
Yeah.
let go of it
And feel.
and feel it,
Yeah.
which I'm not. afraid to feel, but there's just a certain level of like, I don't know, like I don't think I was ready yet to like truly let go of that. And like, I'm in a new environment, I'm in a new home, like I have more space, I do have more support now. And yeah, I just feel like all of the cards are falling into place and it's time for a real release. And so that's what feels different too about, long story short, that's what feels different, is having more grace and understanding for my son because of my emotional experience that I'm having myself. So yeah.
So many so many things, so many gems. I just wanted to celebrate you for moving through this thing that's happening again in a new way. It's just beautiful to see. And yeah, it's so funny in that voice note, you're like, I'm gonna cry, but I know you're gonna love this. And I was like, yeah, I love it. I love to see you're human, and I often do. I'm kind of opposite in that I'm like, something happens and I have to feel and then I can handle it. And I feel like maybe we're flipped in that way, that you handle it and then afterwards you feel. And so sometimes, selfishly, it can feel like I'm too much in the moment, right? But like when I get to witness the closest people to me in the real human experience, I feel so connected to you and love you. It's like I just love you, and I love your heart, and I love your soul, and the way that you move through life, and the way that you're showing up for Theo is really beautiful. And yeah, I also, it's interesting, like for those of you guys listening, the first time this happened, we were both in completely different places in motherhood, because I was in this like hyper protective place with Rhea, that I saw Rhea as like this little flower that was delicate, and like I was kind of victimizing her and seeing like her cousin was like stealing all her toys and was like yelling at her. And then simultaneously, Theo was going through that. And so I like felt protective mama bear. And that was why it was important for me to voice note you after we left. Like, hey, do you have enough layers? Like, don't let this be one. I feel no charge around this. Like Rhea, we're teaching Rhea how to set boundaries. And this is going to be part of her learning that. And yeah, so I'm just proud of us both for moving through it differently. And yeah.
Yeah, no, it's like literally means so much to just have a friend who has been through it with me. And you can be here with me in a more neutral place, because it's really, the first time it was like so isolating because I didn't feel like anybody understood. And so like to have gone through the layers of motherhood that we have together, and to know that like you are in a different place with Rhea, and like you can meet me in me trying to understand and like give my son grace is, I mean, that's village to me too, and that means so much, you know?
I love you.
So
I'm
I love
here
you
with
too.
you. I
Yeah,
really am.
I know. I feel like
Yeah.
we really truly are here for each other, and
Yeah.
it's just the best.
Yeah, I know it's indescribable, honestly, like
Yeah.
in this journey of motherhood, how much it means. And in my own way, I mean, we've talked about it, like coming face to face with the hardest part of your journey thus far, which is this, right? And we've talked about, like, for me, it's sleep. And I know what you're talking about. Like that, like when Noelle started having a child who struggled with sleep, the feeling of like not being alone in it was so important. So yeah, like hearing you say that means a lot. And I'm really grateful to be sitting here with you in it.
Yeah.
And we know he's going to come through it.
Yeah.
And what's cool is this time you're going to come through like more phoenixy. You know what I mean?
Totally. Rising from the ashes.
Literally.
Well, and it's like, yeah, we like have more faith in him that he's going to move through it. And that's like also the parallel with potty training is, and you said it first, and from the book, is like, you need to believe your child is capable of doing this skill, learning this new skill of potty training or going pee-pee in the poo-poo in the potty. um, and like, that's been our mantra is like, I believe in you. You're capable. And he's like, Mama is capable. Like, Theo is capable. And so, and I'm like, and you're capable of figuring out how to, be with whatever you are feeling. And I believe in you.
Yeah.
And it's not going to be linear. Neither is potty training. I think the potty training in that way is like a really good reframe and like check. It's like he's learning a new skill here and this is what it's like. And he's trying so hard. He's like, I can tell he's like, I did it. I'm like, yeah, buddy. And then the next day it's,
And that's life. That's literally life. And it's such a good lesson for them too. But yeah, just you've touched on how our children are mirrors for us many times. And it's so interesting. Like, I think in the first time, if I can just mirror this for you, the first time you went through it with Theo, there was a belief that nothing was wrong with him, but it seemed like there was still a fear and a like uncertainty on when and if this would ever go away. And I feel like that put you in survival mode versus now he's going to come through this. And so there's like less of a fear and you can actually feel your fears. And what's really cool is that you feeling your feelings while he's dysregulated right now or like going through this period is going to teach him how to feel his feels too in more constructive ways. And it's like, oh, there it is again.
I know.
There it is again.
Yeah. And that makes me emotional because it's like, I forget,
We always forget. And that's why we have each other.
Yeah.
Is to remind each other. It's so crazy. Like the non-linear thing, like my sister was texting me earlier, like I'm feeling better and like I'm feeling more grounded. And I was like, great. And also it's not linear. I'm just reminding you it's not linear with sleep. And the universe gives us these moments of reprieve to remind us that it won't be forever so that we don't go doom spiraling, but also like it's not linear. And it's important we remember those things, because we just get into survival mode and we forget, like we lose perspective is really what it is.
Totally.
Yeah.
Is there like anything there for you with sleep recently for you
We
guys?
had a split night last night.
Yeah.
Like we're still so in it. Like we got back from our trip last Monday. We recorded and then that night I was like, we've had 2 rough nights. I'm tired as hell and I don't want her laying on my chest. Like, it's not that I don't want her laying on my chest because I love the feeling of her laying on my chest when she's calm and sleeping. It's like when she's thrashing about trying to get comfortable and like I'm so over it. It's a lot to hold and it's a lot to think about. And so I just told her, Ray, I said, you can't lay on, because she always says, we cuddle for a little bit, read a book, and then she says, want to lay on mommy's chest. And so I said, we can't lay on mommy's chest anymore. Ray Ray's big now, 2 years old. You're a big girl. And when you lay on mommy's chest, it hurts my back. So we're all done with mommy's chest. You can lay right here. You can lay on your belly. I'll tickle your back. And so that change of like her being able to lay here and listen to my heartbeat and like fall asleep with the rise and fall of my chest, taking that away has caused a regression.
I feel you.
So I'm just like, oh, okay. So she's more clingy. She's regressing. Not as much daytime sleep, choppy night sleep. And yeah, it's just reminding myself it's not linear. And also, interestingly enough, like preparing to try for another baby, which feels like I went away this last night with my girlfriend Claudia, 2 nights ago.
Yeah.
Saturday to Sunday. We drove 3 hours to Glenwood Springs, which was beautiful, but also like, why did we travel 3 hours for a date for one day? But we went to these caves, the Yampa, it's called the Yampa Spa. And there's this cave. There were 3, but 2 of them were closed to build a railroad. And the Ute tribe the Native Americans who lived in the Rocky Mountains, they found these caves, and they are like ceremonial caves for rites of passage and coming of age and, ceremonies. And you go down like a staircase, which, obviously was built, and then you enter this cavern with like a few different like rooms bubbled, out, and around the majority of the perimeter of the cave. Have you been? Okay. Is like water, maybe like this much water bubbling up, just mineral water. It smells like sulfur down there. And there's like sodium bicarbonate and potassium and magnesium and obviously sulfur and a bunch of other things. And you hear like the heat bubbling up from the belly of the earth. And you're just in this cave, 9,000 feet in the air, in the mountains, 100% humidity. It's probably 100 plus degrees in there. It's thick. The water's literally boiling. And I walked in and I was like, this is a womb. I was like, this is a womb in the earth. Like, I can't believe I'm here right now. And I'm like preparing to like make space for another baby. Like, whoa, it felt so powerful to be in there. And just like hands on belly and just like swaying. I mean, you get like high. You don't, but you kind of get woozy because all the minerals and the heat. And then we came out. And I was just laying in the like solarium, little sunroom thing, and had like myself covered in towels. And for an hour, I just meditated. Like I was just there. And I just, when you're like reach a point in the meditation where you're not fielding thoughts anymore, you're just in your awareness. It's like rare that you drop in there because we don't really have time anymore. But I was just there. And I just, in the distance of my vision, I see these like ethereal wings flapping towards me. I'm like, what is that? And it just gets closer and closer. And when it finally gets like so close that I can't see the entire span of its wings, it like swirls on itself. And it's just swirling there in front of me. And I have no conscious thought, but like I heard my awareness say, hi, baby. And I was just sitting there like witnessing this being. And I was just like, I'm your mommy. And then like tears started coming down my face. And I was just, in this moment of like, oh my God, this feels so powerful. And then a massage therapist comes in and goes, Claudia, that's my best friend's name. And she was right next to me. And she gets up and she's like, okay, I'm going to go. And I was like, oh my God, bye, baby. Yeah. So, but yeah, then like just sat with this like duality of both feeling kind of touched out and like burnt out with my toddler, and also simultaneously opening and readying for a baby. And I feel super conflicted about this. And I literally just voice noted my sister because she has 2 babies. And I was like, do you feel like your well of energy as a mother is one well that can be drained from both children, and that if Eloise drains it, like you struggle with Henry and vice versa? Or is it that developmentally our toddlers are getting to a place that our systems are like kind of trying to pull back and readying and can be ready for, or is it chicken or egg? Like, because I'm super curious of like, if I'm feeling burnt out, why the fuck am I preparing to bring in another child? Is that like irresponsible, But then I'm kind of like, it also feels the way, but it doesn't feel linear.
No.
You asked a question about sleep and...
No. I'm so glad you took it there.
Okay, because
that was amazing. And so, do you remember when I was like, I just feel like you have this like mystically... That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And it's so cool that I'm getting to witness you in that, and you are getting to experience it with this very, spiritual way of connecting with a soul. I'm curious to hear what your sister says about that, but
What are your thoughts on it?
Well, I mean, I feel like it's not irresponsible. I feel like everything you've been saying to me is saying that you're ready, and you're not going to be able to think about it logically. Like, that's not going to be how you move
Right.
forward through any of this, bringing a new soul into your womb and into the world, and maybe even just how you can shift into motherhood, mothering Rhea even. You know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
I feel like, open to a new way of being. And it's not linear, it's not logical,
Yeah.
it's
Wow.
just intuitive.
Wow. Wow. Thank you for saying that. I needed to hear that. It's so crazy how like the duality is intuition versus logic. That you just helped me frame that. Yeah, cuz I'm like feels right. I have full trust that Rhea is eventually going to sleep.
Yeah.
Eventually going to sleep and figure it out. And also, I mean, yeah, it's not going to be something that we're going to like figure out up here.
I mean, and you'll have time, you'll have a lot of time being pregnant for things to shift and change.
Yeah,
And you have more of a village, which is what you said last time. You feel more resourced. That's
that's
what's
so true.
important.
Yeah. I guess, yeah, you only have your one experience. And I think there's also, I said it to you at your house when I went on Wednesday. And like, that's when we really got a picture for where Theo was.
Hmm.
And I said to you, like, it's harder the second time these things come around because we didn't deal with what was here for us in the first time.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't deal with it yet. And I feel like I haven't dealt with I haven't dealt with what's here for me around sleep. And actually, like in my therapy, have done a lot of inner child healing around sleep and fears that I had when I was going to sleep and not feeling comfortable going to my parents. And I don't know if we talked about any of that, but it doesn't matter in the moment. And so I feel like there's more, right? There's more. And also, sometimes it's not inner child stuff. Sometimes it's just an adult asking for their needs. Like, I was burnt out around sleep. And so I asked Ryan, I'm like, I need a night off. Dude, I hold this shit down. I put her to sleep every night. I wake up with her every morning. I hold it all night. I need a fucking night off.
How did she sleep when you were gone?
Um,
Similar to how she normally?
3 wake ups. Yeah, woke up and was like, all done. And Ryan's like, no, get your ass back in bed. But I've read that children do better, generally speaking, with their fathers at night than with their mothers, which is interesting. But, where Travis and Ryan are, like, from a work perspective, it's not realistic.
Mm-hmm.
But I think, like, yeah, some of my fear comes in with imagining having another child like Rhea around sleep and, like, just literally falling off the deep end. But what I did tell Ryan is we'll have a doula. I don't know if we talked about this last time. I'm going to get a postpartum doula to cook for me. Like, I don't think I need a doula during birth. I think I need a solid midwife.
I know.
And
somebody to take care of you afterwards.
And someone to take care of you afterwards. Yeah. And help cook you and nourish you, the laundry, whatever else comes up. But I don't think I'm going to need a doula. So that's what we talked about. Like what is it going to look like, different wise. And yeah. And just like getting more childcare, just doing it.
Well, and that's the thing about like forward thinking about that. It's, you're aware you have the fear around it, right? But like, you just can't know how you, the new baby, and Rhea, and Ryan too, but who knows? Like Rhea it may be really a good catalyst for her.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows, know? So yeah, it's just like, I think your awareness around it all is really good. And it's just having faith, and getting there when you get there. But I totally understand all of it. Like I totally appreciate, like the honesty around, because you had just like the story you told in the cave was just like so beautiful and so powerful. but then to, have the realities of also how you're feeling about it,
Yeah, I don't live in a spa.
Yeah.
If I lived in a spa in that like peace and tranquility, welcoming another baby would be fine. It's like you get back to your real life and it's just like, boom. Oh my God. Wow. How?
Yeah. How can both things exist at the same time? Yeah.
How could I ever imagine like having a baby as well? This is just like, wow. But yeah, and I had told Noelle about the fear too. And she's like, you know, you're gonna get pregnant and then you're gonna have 9 months.
Exactly.
And then the baby's gonna be sleeping for 20 hours a day for a few weeks. Like it's gonna be you grow into the mother of two.
Right.
You grow into the capacity rather than all of a sudden someone dropping 10 more pounds on your back.
Yep. Yeah, you
So,
have time to mentally, emotionally prepare.
yeah.
Once baby's in your womb, and
Yeah.
in those couple of sort of sleepy 2-ish weeks of newborn.
It's interesting to like think about it from like the lens of, we talk about masculine, feminine lens a lot, but also thinking about it from the lens of like love versus fear. And I think a lot of these things, obviously, I'm talking about my fears. It's fear based. It's like what is lack or what's going to change or what's going to need to change or what could potentially like stretch me too far. But then it's also like, if you look at it from love, it's like what you're gaining a whole nother soul, like so much love, so much cuddly togetherness and like that little bubble that could potentially like resource you, with love and oxytocin to carry the new load. So yeah, I'm trying to shift my lens a little bit and lean into trust more. Hi, baby girl.
Hi, Luna. she's been coming to visit us every time we podcast.
I know
she loves it.
She's a podcaster.
Yeah, I'm going to take it back to because I am genuinely curious.
Yeah.
About what it was for you. I was talking about, being ready to release and like having releases this past week with, Theo regressing and whatever. And my first one, after my mom left, Travis and I, synced up with our bodies.
You were intimate?
We were intimate. And immediately after just cried.
Why do you think
for
that?
10 minutes.
Why do you think that triggered a release?
Well, that's been a thing for me in the past is like after orgasm, I'll cry a little bit. But this was like, I hadn't cried post orgasm in a while, like since becoming a mother, maybe like once or twice. But this was like immediately after, just, I could not hold it in,
Wow.
And Theo was like asleep in the bed next to us. And so I was, trying to like let out as much as I could without just, being too loud and waking him up. But yeah, and he just, held me. And I was like, I think only my man can really be the one to hold me through this right now. Not my mom. Like, I'm a mother now. So it was just, and then, I had another release with him the next time we were intimate. And so I just feel like that's going to be a really important place for me to make sure, I have space from him, because that's clearly, I need that like body, that nervous system release, and that emotional space from him. And so
like that level of presence.
Yeah.
From him.
And especially like at night when you're just about to go to sleep, it's like the only thing to do is be with each other. There's not like we're, going to go finish up the chores or whatever. So yeah. And then you were like, yeah, I had an experience with Ryan, and I have no context. You gave me no context for like what you were crying about, what was there for you. So I'd love to hear what your experience was like.
Well, I already sort of told the story. It was the night that I put Rhea down because I didn't discuss it with him. We had gotten back from Bailey, the mountain town that we talked about last week, and immediately podcasted with you. Then went to go get her from my mom's and just started wind down and took a bath and, just synced with her, got back into our routine, got into bed. And I decided on my own that we were starting this boundary tonight. And it's interesting because when I look back, I remember laying on the bed Sunday night and just holding her so close when she was falling asleep on my chest and just kissing her head, and just like snapshotting the moment and the feeling. So subconsciously, I knew that I was ready to do this. I mean, I have been ready to take her off my chest, but like, I knew it was time. You know why I knew it was time? Because that day, Ryan and I went into the woods and decided that we were gonna call in baby. And so it was like, baby, I have to get you off my chest to make room for the baby. And she was so dead tired. I mean, she was exhausted. I don't think she napped that day. And so she was just bleary eyed. And she didn't have like the energy to fight back and like protest. So she just laid on her belly, and in 10 minutes she was sleeping. And before she was out, tears were streaming down my face, because I was like realizing that, well, first of all, when I told her, "You can't go on mommy's chest," I said, "You're too big." She sat up and she said, "I'm little," and just like looked at me. And I was like just my heart just broke in that moment, because just like we have inner children, like she has an inner baby. And that inner baby still gets so much comfort on mommy's chest. It's where she slept for 2 years. And so it's where she grew. I mean, not in my chest, but like hearing my heartbeat and the rise and fall of my breath. And like that's a home. And I know it's been a home. And to be honest, like having her on my chest is a home for me too. Emotionally, I'm still struggling. Like emotionally, there's nights I just want to pull her on because I fall asleep faster. Having that weight on me, and like it's like a puzzle piece clicking in, you know? So we're both regressing, but I'm regressing too. But yeah, I was like weeping before I even left the room. It was just like my own release of deep sorrow, and this like reality that I think eventually every mother comes to at some point. I feel like a lot of mothers have it when their baby turns 1. And we talked about last time, that did not happen for me. It was Rhea turning 2. That like, it really clicked for me that she's never going to be small again. And she's not a baby. And, you know, yes, you're little, but you're not a baby. And this is where babies sleep, you know? And so I just went upstairs and I just told him, I'm like, she fell asleep off my chest, and I just wept. I wept in a way I hadn't cried in a really long time. I don't remember the last time I cried like that. And I was just on the floor, and he was on his like computer chair, and he just bent down and like picked me up like a baby. And it was so interesting, like the parallel of, it was like I needed to be held like a baby in that moment while I was weeping for the end of the baby in my child. And so, and then we both cried, you know, because he also over the weekend, like, was really realizing how not a baby she is, you know, and how much of a big girl she is and how much she's growing. And it's just, and there's also like the layer of welcoming in a new baby is going to make our baby the big sister. And it's like, what? That doesn't even make sense. Yeah. That was my release. Yeah. Story. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for sharing.
Yeah. Thanks for asking.
And it's just like, I just feel like everything is so, at least for us, I'm like, is there anybody else out there who's feeling all of this intensity? Because it's just like everything is so like deep and charged and like emotional, and yeah, like there's a shift happening for each of us, at least in our lives. And I think it's so important, you know, to that we're each going through these releases for whatever reasons, to make space for new baby, to just let go of carried baggage, emotional baggage, not baggage, but just, the heaviness of my experiences the past year and a half, 2 years. But I love what you're saying about Rhea and her being a big girl, even though she's still little. And, even just like with Theo with the potty training, and it's an interesting concept and a duality of like, we always want our kids to feel safe and loved and like they can come to us. And also it's like, I feel like we're both at a place of believing in our kids that they're capable of doing stuff on their own or being a big sister, you know? And I feel like that's just that's like the context of where we're at from a big picture perspective, which I think is sort of challenging. It can be challenging to shift when to baby them, quote unquote, and when to push them, because I feel like there's shadow with both of those, keeping your kid too close and too sheltered, and also pushing your kid before they're ready. Yeah, so I just wanted to give that perspective with what you were sharing.
Yeah, that's so true.
I don't know if there's anything else you want to add to that.
Well, I guess just my hope for both of us and for anyone who resonates with that, like walking that line between the two modes that feel like duality, but are actually probably so interwoven,
Yeah.
But yeah, I hope that we have grace with ourselves, because we're not going to get it right all the time. We're learning to be mothers for the first time as well, and just that we remember it's not linear.
Yeah,
It's not
that's a theme.
linear. Let's make a theme song.
I am curious how your time with Claudia was.
It was great.
She's your childhood?
We met in grade school and then went to middle school, high school, fell out of touch for 10 years, and then got back in touch when I had a business, and she had just graduated from her doctorate program. And she was just like networking, and she was like, "Hey, I know you have this online program. Like, I'd love to just catch up and see what you're doing." And I had literally just talked to my dad the day before and said, "Poppy, in these programs that we're doing, like, people are like, we were doing like inner child work, and like, we were doing things that I didn't even realize, like, I was out of my scope, And so when I realized, okay, we need a professional, I told my dad the day before, I was like, I think we need to bring on like a mental health professional. Claudia reached out the next day and we caught up, and I was like, dude, you're like a perfect fit, for my community. And so then we would call them mental health check-ins. She would just, for the people who wanted to go really deep, we would do like these group therapy calls. And so our reintroduction was professional, but we quickly deepened our relationship, and we were both entrepreneurs, and had a history, which was cool to build on. But yeah, it's interesting. Like right now, we're starting this project, but she's in such a different place, being that I'm a mom about to expand my family. She's full throttle with her business. And it's like, there's so much differentiation, and yeah, I was telling my sister that it was really challenging for me Thursday, Friday, and Saturday morning when Claudia was just getting here, and the majority of our relationship has been this type of presence and space. And I'm like trying to reacting to my daughter, or like trying to respond to my daughter, trying to be present with her. I felt like I was failing at both. I felt, my free time from Rhea, I was spending with Claudia, so I was getting no alone time, and there's no perfect way to do it. I mean, the perfect way to do it is to do what we did, which was to go away for one night so we could get like that just locked in one-on-one time. And for context, for those listening, Claudia lives in Florida and I live in Colorado. So, when one of us comes out, it's like we have to prioritize each other as much as possible because we don't see each other often. So yeah, but it was really nourishing, and it's always cool to reconnect with friends who know all your history and who have like been with you through multiple iterations of self. It's like a different coloring on so much, so yeah, it was great and nourishing and also challenging in some ways, but luckily I was able to, when we went away, there was like a couple times where I'm like, hey, I just need to be with myself right now. Like, I'm just going to write in my journal, whatever, even though we're sitting next to each other. Like, it's also taught me I'm learning how to take space while in company, you know?
That's hard. I'm not good at that.
It's really hard. I'm wondering if that has something to do with like that threshold you met when your mom was around.
Totally. I just I don't know. Obviously, it's a skill that I should probably just get better at. But right now, it's like even with Theo, even with my husband,
Mm-hmm.
people that I am very comfortable with, it's like I just need to be
Mm-hmm.
physically away from you, And so I don't know if that's something I should just, for now, I should just be okay with that and prioritize that. And then over time, if I feel like I can be open to finding a way to try and do it with people, but I've found so far that's just not how it works for me. Even if I say I'm taking space or I'm like, oh, I'm not actually disconnected from whoever else is around, even if it's people I'm very comfortable with.
Well, I think it's harder with people that you're very comfortable with, especially because like you and I, like primary parent, it's a well-greased groove. Like if I want to take space, I ideally have to leave the house, or my child has to leave the house.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. If we're both in the house together, we both gravitate towards each other, even when she wants to hang out with other people and I'm burnt out. Like we're just find each other, So I think that has something to do with it. Just roles.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. When you need space is when you've been in your role for probably a little bit too long. So it's just like the easiest place to fall back into, even though you need space from
It's
it.
comfortable. Yeah, I do think I feel like you and Claudia are like super fun and cute and bubbly. Like I feel like I saw like a spunky, bubbly version of you.
Really?
Yeah, which I think is so great. And I think, the fact that you guys do have so much history and you were friends at an earlier age, in grade school and then reconnected. Yeah, I'm like it was really fun to see. And also what you were talking about with the history at dinner, when we all went to dinner, I was looking at your driver's license and I was like, you had short hair there? I was like, I never knew her. And Claudia was like, yeah, the self-love journey. I was like, oh, this is so great. I was like, it's cool. Like that was a moment that, speaks to what you were talking about.
Yeah, no, totally. Yeah. I mean, you probably don't remember her speech at my wedding because you were probably with Theo.
I was in and out. I was out there though, listening to much of it.
It's cool. Like her speech spoke to a part of me that none of you guys know. And she is still getting to know this version of me who you know intimately. So it's like a cool fusion of worlds. She knows me when I was like a free wolf, like
just the woman who runs with wolves.
Yeah.
She referenced.
Yeah, she referenced. Yeah. And now I'm like about my community, about my routine, about my family. And it's like a different, and it's so interesting. It's so interesting. Like, also just speaking to her because she's been on the same track and the same path for years, building her practice and getting her doctorate. And as do you ever think about like, I guess what I'm saying is that I feel like I've lived 5 lives. in those 12 years that she's been on this one path. And in a different way, but well, actually, you were an entrepreneur for a little bit. Now you're a mom. I mean, it's like different lives, different modes.
Mm-hmm.
Which side do you resonate with?
I
Which
definitely,
track?
I feel like, yeah, like who I was, like we are just talking about when I was in practice with my husband. I'm like, she's dead and gone.
Yeah.
Like she's no longer exists. So
She's
yeah,
fertilizer for who you are now.
exactly. I love that. I love that so much. But yeah, no, I feel like I'm going to live probably several different iterations of myself. Travis and I both are like that.
Okay.
We're kind of like, yeah, we are phasic in that way.
Mm-hmm.
We're always like, I think subconsciously seeking transformation.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And so, but she is an earth sign.
Mm-hmm.
So that makes sense.
I know. It's so interesting. And Ryan's an earth sign.
Yeah.
Even though I know Ryan's grown a lot, I do see him as more of like a stable identity.
Yeah.
Do you see that too?
Maybe identity, I think maybe is a good way of contextualizing it.
Yeah.
But,
meaning like Transformers.
Well, just like Claudia's identity in her career. And
Yeah.
like, yeah. In that way, they're steady.
Yeah.
And yeah, on the same trajectory, which is a good thing.
And they're all good.
Yeah.
The world needs all of it, right?
Totally.
Neither is good nor bad. I think it's knowing which type you are so that when change happens, you can find your equilibrium and meet your own internal needs, so yeah, it's just interesting. Like, yeah.
Yeah. Not feel like a crazy person when you're like, I'm losing it. I'm spiraling.
I'm changing again.
I'm changing. I'm shedding. One more time.
It's my 7th time this year.
I know. I'm like, wait, I thought the year of the snake was over. What are we doing? I thought we were in the year of the fire horse. Like, come on.
Yeah, the fire horse burns it away, bitch.
I know, right? But in a way, I feel like the fire horse is very action oriented, And so, in that way, I feel like both of us have made changes and decisions and like, yeah, we haven't been like holding back with where we're going and what we want.
I think we've been somewhat responsibly impulsive.
I love that too.
Like you were like, I mean,
I was, yeah.
You were like,
totally.
Hey, potty training. And I was like, do it. And you were like, fuck it. I'm doing it. Diaper off. And then I was like, off the chest. We're not even going to consult my husband. We're just going to go. Yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
But also, like, I mean, we're both tapped in enough and like, have our own sounding boards. And we knew.
It wasn't reckless. Yeah.
How do you feel? I mean, when I talked to you the day that your mom left, you were like, maybe it wasn't right to start potty training now. Where do you sit with that train of thought now?
Well, I mean, and the reason why I said that was because of the regression in his behavior.
That's right.
That's right. So it was a selfish, maybe we shouldn't have started potty training. Like, but he's like did I tell you? No, I can't remember if I told you when we were recording or before. But he's making progress. Like he's going on his own when he doesn't, when he's naked and the potty's right there. Like he's gone pee-pee and poo-poo the past 2 days on his own. Not every time, but he's doing it. And so I'm like, he's totally ready.
He was ready.
He's ready. And, again, yeah, it's just selfish. And understandable and completely valid. Yeah. So that's where that was coming from.
Do you our little moms group, Tasha and I we were talking about getting together tomorrow morning, and then you were like, I'll see how we're feeling in the morning. Is that part of why? Okay.
Totally. Yeah. I'm like, I don't have the bandwidth to like emotionally hold however Theo needs me to hold him, I don't want to go. And I don't want to go inside somewhere. If we go outside, I'm definitely more open to it. Okay. Because it's just like, I feel like that's not a good environment for him. Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah. But yeah, totally. It's, and I want to be, I don't want to seclude myself because that's definitely like the mindset or the tendency. Last week, when it was all fresh, I was like, we're just going to be by ourselves until it's better. We're just going to be alone in the island of our home. But I'm like, that's not realistic. And also, that doesn't mean I have to like overly socialize, because
Totally.
clearly he's sensitive. I'm still sensitive. So why would I just pretend like nothing's happening?
Yeah.
So it's both. And you guys are my trusted people. So like, if I'm going to do it around anybody, it should do it around you guys, or, be social with you guys.
Yeah.
Did you feel like any type of way about when Rhea's regression came on after your responsibly impulsive decision to?
It's like I forgot it would trigger a regression, even though literally that day during the podcast, I was like, oh yeah, when I potty trained Rhea, it did trigger a regression. That's right. And here I was making a forced change for my daughter. And yeah, I mean, I actually, the first night we had a split night and I just got up and held it with so much grace because I was like, yeah, of course, here we are. Last night's split night was extremely hard for me because it's been a week. And I'm like, all right, girl, like, get it together, And also, that's not fair to her, that's a
This is where
selfish thought. But then it's also like, I don't want to wake up in the middle of the night anymore. Like, I just don't want to do it. I don't want to do it anymore. What am I supposed to do? I'm so over it. I'm so burnt out from it. I just want to sleep. And if you need to wake up and have me put you back to sleep and, cuddle and whatever, fine. But I want to go out there. I'm hungry.
Yeah.
And needing to turn all the way on and use my brain to field these negotiations with my 2-year-old dictator. Like, I'm just like,
yeah.
I sometimes I feel a little trapped by it.
I understand exactly how you feel, but in a completely different area.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this is where it's like, we're always either paralleled or like balanced in our dynamic, which is so nice. It's just like, okay, we've never had a split night, but I understand, like, everything you're saying is exactly how I feel about navigating Theo's behavior.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so challenging and I feel like what's the most challenging about it is the lack of clarity on the way out.
Yeah.
When I don't know, I can endure quite a bit if I know what's happening.
Yeah.
But if I don't know the way through or what the length is going to be, I mean, it's the same thing.
Yeah,
that's literally
what
the same thing.
Find myself searching for is I just want to understand it, the why. And I'm sure you feel the same way.
Yeah, what I have come to adopt as my belief around split nights is that, have we talked about that? Like,
I don't think
from an evolutionary standpoint.
Not on here.
Okay, yeah, because split nights were actually the way that there were late what is it called? Night owls, split nighters, and early birds, and it was so that there was people awake at all times of the night, and also we learned in the book Hungather Parent that split nights is like an evolutionary normalcy, that people would wake up in the middle of the night and pray or tend to their flock or whatever the fuck they would do, have sex, procreate. It was just something that happened to our species. We'd have first sleep and second sleep. And somewhere probably in the Industrial Revolution, when we lost touch with most of our primal nature, that got phased out and efficiency got prioritized for sleep. And I just feel like Rhea's a human that would have been taken the middle of the night shift. Like that's just her being her normal self as a human. And it's only challenging because that's not the norm. And that's not the way I am. I don't think I was like that. I think I was an early bird. And so it's mitigating the difference, but also which I do by going to sleep super early. And I think the reason I was so burnt out last night is because Claudia's here. And so I've been trying to maximize spent time with her instead of like prioritizing sleep.
Mm-hmm.
But just accepting that there's nothing wrong with my child and that it's just the type of sleeper that she is. And I mitigate it by going to bed early with her so that if there is a split night, I get maximum sleep time before midnight. That's what works for me. If I go to bed at 8 or 9, I get 4-5 hours of pre-midnight sleep. If she wakes up at 1, like I've already got 6 hours of sleep. Like I can fucking do an hour, 2 hours, and then get another cat nap. So, what was your question?
I don't remember.
No, we were just talking.
You were just sharing
about
your
that's
perspective.
that like I just, and I feel like you got there too. You got there too, or with Theo around like going to that daycare and that woman just telling you like, oh yeah, that's just that happens to some kids. Like it is part of developmental development for some kids. So I think just taking off the layer of, is something wrong?
Yeah.
Is this something
feeling around it? Yeah.
And I think getting clarity around, is this something to fix or is this something to accept, helps. And still, even doing that work, there's still layers of like, fuck, this is hard. And this is,
it's because it's not linear.
Yeah. And it brings you up. I mean, like there's already so much you sacrifice as a mother to then have to like sacrifice the little play dates that we have and the little bit of like joy and relief that gives you, to then have to like sacrifice that. It's like, okay, like what else? Like for me, sleep, I'm like, I'm with you all day, every day, giving my full attention and presence to you. And I can't even sleep. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Come on. So,
yeah. I know. Something's got to give. What else do you want from me, child?
Everything.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Your blood, mother.
I know. But yeah, I love you referencing back to that book. And it was actually, just for anybody who's curious, she, in the book Hunt Gather Parent, this information it's like, I love how it's the last chapter. I'm like, good for you. Good for you. Put at the very end. This is all I have to say. It's a very short chapter too. But anyways, what you're talking about, she references actually is from another book called Wild Nights.
Ooh, I didn't actually pick that up. Okay.
Yeah. So, and it's about the evolution of sleep.
I should probably just read that damn book.
Yeah, which I think is good for it's always like a balance of that type of understanding and context, and understanding that we're completely removed from our how we were primally and how we lived. Like our nervous systems have not caught up with modern day life, basically. And also it's like, okay, well, where do you hold the boundary in your own, in your own day-to-day life?
But that's a good point. That, yeah, it's so interesting. My mom was like, you just have to put her in the crib or put her in her bed and just close the door and just let her cry it out, Nicole, and she'll figure it out. And I was like, it's so interesting because I just don't know if I agree with, I don't know if I subscribe to, I mean, I don't subscribe to sleep training, but, and a caveat is that I don't judge anyone who deems sleep training necessary to survive in the modern world, because sleep training was developed by, I'm going to butcher this, but I know it was two men who, it was around the time of the Industrial Revolution when people were going to work in factories for 10 to 12 hours a day. And it's like, well, of course we had to make sleep more efficient and foster independence, from my opinion, far too early in a child. But I was just telling my mom, like, yeah, I told my mom that. I was like, I just don't know that I subscribe to it. And I don't understand why we as the parents get to sleep together, but then we force the child to sleep alone. And she's like, huh. I was like, yeah. But it's just interesting, like, yeah, just the things that we do in the modern world, that are completely against our nature. And if you look into nature at mammals, most of them sleep together, all cuddled up. I mean, even your dogs and your cats don't want to sleep alone. They want to sleep with people. And it makes sense because when we're sleeping, we're our most vulnerable. So like from a nervous system perspective, like we unwind more when we're synced with our people in sleep. So yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if this is the episode to do it, but I feel like at some point you should share your experience with the sleep training whatever you want to call it. Cause I think that I learned so much and like that gave me a lot of validation in continuing to co-sleep with Theo, even though it wasn't my experience. But yeah, just like witnessing you go through that and give it a try, like the gentlest version of it, and it just like not be what was right for you guys. Because it was, I was like really proud of you for like trying. I was like, go Nicole, like you guys have done everything you can from my perspective, seems like. And then it was just sort of like surrendering to that's not the way for you.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes I forget we did that.
I know it was a long time ago.
Yeah. Well, we started at 8 months and she was 8 months old, and Ray and I were co-sleeping in her room together. Ryan was sleeping in the master. And I was just dealing with split nights and breastfeeding all night. She was just waking up all the time to get back on the boob. And so for me, the sleep training was not about not co-sleeping. It was just trying to help my daughter fall asleep and stay asleep because I was losing it. And honestly, was just like, I would wake up in the morning so depleted that I would just like, I wanted to like get space from her all day. But then like to get space from her, I had to put her to sleep, which it was just like this circle of like being touched out and exhausted and depleted. And so, yeah, we got in touch with a sleep consultant who was wonderful and so supportive to us. And it's interesting looking back and now having the experience of potty training. Number one, I didn't fully believe Rhea capable. And number two, I hadn't fully solidified my beliefs around co-sleeping. I hadn't fully solidified my beliefs. And so I felt like a wishy-washy person. Ryan felt really strongly about like, you're going to burn out. We need to do something differently. This isn't sustainable. And also he wanted me to come back to bed.
Yeah.
And so it was kind of like his clarity on that was why we tried it, but I did not have that sense of conviction within myself. And I can see now when I hold a boundary with her now that I have conviction around that she's capable, I show up differently than when I was trying that. I was just so anxious and fearful that she wasn't going to fall asleep. And so she never fucking did. She never did. It didn't work. She would just cry and I would just lay down next to her in the crib and she would just cry and look at me and just like, Mommy, why? Pick me up. And then, yeah, we tried everything and it didn't work. And it's so funny because my mom says, I know you tried, but I just think you gave up too soon. And I was never going to get there from there.
Yeah.
I was never going to get there from there. Like, it actually ended up happening that I talked to my sister. My sister's friend told Noelle that what they did with their son to sleep train their son was, okay, it's 11:30, it's nap time. Put him in the crib. And at 2, so like 11:30, 12:30, 1:30. Yeah, 2, so 2.5 hours, which is what the nap they wanted him to take. They would just get him out. And if he cried the whole 2.5 hours, then he cried the whole 2.5 hours. And I was like, that's crazy. That seems radical. And also, like when I tell my therapist, like, that's crazy, that's radical, she'll like flip it on me. She's like, Is waking up 20 times a night with your child not radical? Is holding split nights by yourself because your husband works 12 hours a day not radical?
Mm.
And
She's wise.
she's a wise woman. She is. And it always like, okay, well, if it seems radical, maybe it's because we're so entrenched in this ditch that any way out, even if there's sharks and crocodiles and rushing river here, seems radical, right?
Yeah.
So I tried it once, and I was out here cooking, crying the entire time with her. And I was just like, surely she's going to fall asleep eventually. Like, surely she's going to cry herself to sleep. Nope, did not cry herself to sleep. And when I got her out of there, we were both so dysregulated. So dysregulated that I was like, we're done sleep training. My child is not ready.
You're not ready?
I'm not ready. Like, this is damaging. This is damaging both of us. And so then we just took all pressure off and just focused on reestablishing safety for her. And kind of just were the same for until we stopped breastfeeding. When we stopped breastfeeding is when we saw like major changes in sleep. But we still deal with split nights, and we still are up, 3 to 6 times a night, which is better than what we were doing. But yeah, that was a journey we went on that I wonder how it imprinted her. Like, I wonder what that did to her nervous system and what it did to my nervous system. I wonder if there's something there for me to deal with. But yeah.
Yeah, thanks for
That's the
sharing that.
story. Yeah, thanks for opening
and
the door.
sharing that. I was hoping at some point you'd be able to share that story, because I feel like especially with sleep and sleep training, people are like, you either do it and it works, and it's just like a question of like how long your child is going to cry for, specifically the cry it out method, right? But yeah, just you bringing in the deeper layer of it matters how you feel about it as a parent. And like, it's not like if you are wishy-washy or it doesn't feel good for you and you're like, crying with your child while they're in the, you know what I mean? Like, it's not just black and white. It's there's definitely more there to it than just it either works or it doesn't, or you do it or you don't, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So I just really appreciate you sharing that. And I remember you telling me about, she cried for 2 hours, Sarah, and she just cried the whole time. And I went back in there and we're done. I was like, good for you guys.
Yeah.
Like, now you know for sure.
Yeah. And what I learned through that experience is that Rhea's a highly sensitive person, and highly sensitive people need a lot of co-regulation.
Yeah.
They're not the people who sit in a dark room by themselves,
like, need solitude
and regulate. No, they don't.
Yeah.
That's not who my child is.
Yeah.
So I learned a lot about her temperament through that process, and also getting the validation of a sleep consultant. She'd just be like, wow, she's busy. Like, she's, learning rapidly and talking already and walking already. Wow, her brain, she would just tell me like her brain is very busy. And so all the waking at night, it validated like Rhea's just her synapses are like, and for a new little brain, it's a lot. It's like when you do a puzzle and you're locked into a puzzle, and then when you close your eyes at night, like you're still doing the puzzle, right? It's like that's how life is for them all the time.
Yeah.
So it contextualized that.
Yeah, totally.
And so
I'll just share this real quickly because it made me think of, but you said, I wonder how that impacted her nervous system. And you like started the story with like, I kind of forgot about it. That's how I feel about getting Theo's tongue ties released.
Dude.
I feel the same way about that whole thing. I'm like, how did I traumatize him? Why did I do that? I forgot about it. I always forget about it. And then like random things, I'm like, oh yeah,
You did that.
I can't believe like that happened and we did that. So yeah, it's just crazy to like think back the decisions you make for your children, no matter what they are, is like, and having now the 2 years we have to look back and be like, okay, I was in a fear-based place. I was in a, you know, a lack place, whatever, whatever negative shadow place we were in energetically, emotionally, nervous system wise, and seeing like the types of decisions and how they felt when we
Mm-hmm.
did them. And now being able to move through decisions differently,
Mm-hmm.
and just
Mm-hmm.
you being the um decision maker. When you feel clear about something, Ray is still, I would say our kids are more tied to the mother's nervous system at first until they're like 6 or 7. I think it sort of like shifts, even though they are very much tied into the whole family unit for sure. But like if mom's not clear about something, if mom's not on board with something, it's not happening,
Totally. Totally.
And so you being able to step into that power, and me too, and move through these decisions with, what did you say? Responsibly.
Responsibly impulsive.
Yes, responsibly impulsive
Fire horse energy.
is because we've had these
Yeah.
experiences before
Totally.
where we were like so not making decisions from an empowered, clear, grounded place.
Totally. It's like I don't know what it's called, but it's like something that I learned when I was listening to Alan Watts, like early in my spiritual awakening, like whatever. Let's call it like 2020. I was like obsessed with Alan Watts at the time. And he tells a story about you're in a shallow pond and you're trying to like see the bottom, and you just keep moving around like trying to see the bottom, trying to see the bottom, but like actually the way to see the bottom is to like get clear, right? Like the way to see the way to get clarity is to stop moving, like get connected and cut out the noise often, right? And I remember for me, I mean, I loved our sleep consultant, and also it was just another voice of an expert, speaking into a woman who was unsure within herself. And for you with the tongue ties, I mean, you had
The same thing.
the doctor, the dentist, like whatever, whoever was speaking into you. And it only clouds the water. And I think that's something, yeah, we could probably, I mean, unless you want to tell the story about your tongue ties or his tongue ties.
I mean, I feel like what I shared is pretty much the context,
Mm-hmm.
Besides just like getting into the nitty gritty of the details of it all. But basically, I don't feel good about having done it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think if I was in a different place of clarity, I don't think I wouldn't have done it.
Okay.
I wouldn't have done it. I mean, I think my beliefs around it and, his ability and understanding of who he was at the time, because he was, I guess we'll just get into it. He was not gaining weight when he was around 3-4 months developmentally. Theo's also very neurologically like stimulated.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think him and Rhea in that way are similar, even though their strengths in their intellectual capacity are different. Or yeah. And so, yeah, he just like, wasn't a typical baby he was a FOMO baby, like 10 out of 10 FOMO baby, if you're familiar with that. Like if anything was going on, he was not nursing, so like getting food and nourishment into him was a challenge. And he had an upper lip tie, which you could see it. And then, tight under the tongue, typical like tongue tie. And yeah, we were going to just like a wellness clinic, not a traditional pediatrician, but she was like, his weight is going down. He's got the ties. Like, you should probably go see a functional dentist. So I went and saw a functional dentist, she's like, yeah, blah, 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 blah. And just the whole thing was like so like nerve wracking to me. I mean, and you witnessed your sister do a release with Eloise. And so that like the after,
stretching.
oh my God, I was like, oh, this is a lot, this is a lot. And just, yeah. And, I was like, my thinking at the time around the palate and the jaw and like the teeth. And that was, that's an interesting thing too, is they were like, his teeth are going to come in weird. It's going to affect how his teeth come in. And how our society with teeth and straight teeth and all that is like huge. And I had so much orthodontia work when growing up. And this is so crazy. When my mom was here, I'm segueing, but when my mom was here, I lost my retainer. I don't know where the hell it is. And I wear it every night because my teeth move. I haven't worn my retainer in like a week. And I was like freaking out. And then now I'm like, maybe this is part of
part of
my healing journey. As weird as that sounds, but like
losing your retainer.
Yeah, but it's part of the fascial system of the body, you know. So it's not just like straight teeth or whatever. And so it's just like a funny segue. But anyways, I was like, I don't want him to do that. He was a thumb sucker at the time. I was like, we need to do this right. And I've shared that mentality of I don't want to do things wrong. I don't want to mess it up. And that's where that decision came from was, well, there's no harm it could do. It's if anything, if it doesn't quote unquote work, like it's better than not doing something. And all of this palate stuff being off and wrong and his teeth coming in all crazy. And it's like, he just needed me to be relaxed.
Yeah.
Like he didn't need a laser to snip his tongue.
Because what you're not saying simultaneously, you were in a nervous system, like
for sure.
sympathetic nervous system state.
Yeah, we both were. And the tongue tie wasn't the issue. It wasn't the issue. And we made some modifications with, so this is also kind of funny with our sleep, talking about sleep and nursing and breastfeeding and co-sleeping. So I was actually like doing the eat, play, sleep. So I would nurse him when he woke up, and then he would be awake for his wake window, and then I would just do something else to help him fall asleep. But when he got to that 3 to 4 month big burst of development, that stopped working. And so this is where we were. And this whole experience, I was also working with a lactation consultant before we got the tongue tie release as prep work. But she's the one that was like, why don't you just nurse him as much as you can before his naps when he's sleepy? And I was like, well, I was trying not to associate sleep with breastfeeding because I wanted him to be a good sleeper. But and he started gaining weight before we even did the tongue tie, but we still did you know what I mean? So it's just one of those things where it was like, I just needed to let go of trying to do everything right.
Yeah.
Sleeping being one of them.
Yeah.
That was in there. And, obviously just like the release and the palate and all the dental and orthodontia stuff that comes with that. But I regret it. That's my biggest regret as a parent.
Wow.
Is that.
Wow.
And I'm like, I wonder how I traumatized him.
Yeah.
Because that's a scary thing to be like, they don't recommend parents coming in to the procedure. It's like super quick in 2 minutes, but.
Did you go in?
No.
Oh my God.
I mean, I was planning to, but they were like, it's literally going to be so quick. And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was, but still.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Do you have a tongue tie?
I don't think so.
No. That's a tongue tie.
No, if you can keep your, no, that's normal. If you can.
This is considered a grade 3.
Really? Even if you can open your mouth and keep your tongue to the.
I do myofascial therapy, so I can do that.
Oh, but I can do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So.
You probably have like a lesser grade than me.
But maybe I do have one. I don't know. I feel like we all probably do.
That's my point. Is like, and we're all fine. We're all fine. Yeah. I've been doing myofunctional therapy because I did a sleep study and like the beginning of apnea. And she's like, let's just work on strengthening your tongue so that it stays to the roof of your mouth and helps your palate open. Because that's what helps the palate open is pressure on the roof of the mouth.
Yep.
So we can do that. Even now, there's things changing. I can feel things changing. And I'm 37 years old. So like it's possible for so much to happen with the kids. Gosh. But yeah, like last time I went in, she's like, she checked all my things. She's like, yeah, I would do an upper lip release for you and a tongue release. And I came home and I was like, Ryan, like, she wants to do this. And he's like, well, what do you think? And I'm like, I don't think it's necessary right now. And I think that there may be some ties, like she was telling me there's people that if you don't have function of your tongue,
Yeah.
it's just interesting to also bring in the component of it's a business.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
Yeah.
It's so prominent with like kiddos. It's like the first thing like anybody does with any feeding issues.
Yeah. Instead of like looking at it holistically and like checking in with the mother, how resourced is the mother,
Yeah.
and I mean, so many other things. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's interesting just to hear that story, and thank you for sharing it. Um, I I I feel that way in a way about when Rhea was 5 days old. Do you know this story?
I think you guys, did you go like to the hospital for something?
She was 5 days old, and I woke up at like 3 o'clock in the morning, and her eye was like swollen shut. And then like 2 hours later on her next wake up, like there was pus coming out of it, and she was super warm. Granted, I think she felt like she was sleeping on my chest or something. So like there was body to body heat, and their temperature regulation at that time isn't great. Or I guess it's not that it's not great, but it's different than the way our bodies operate. Like they're not sweating, when they're super hot. And so I touch her face and I'm like, babe, she's got like a swollen eye. She's super hot. I'm 5 days postpartum.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm in that mode of like, is my baby breathing? Is my baby dying? I was like, go get the thermometer. And I remember them telling us, like, if you think your baby has a fever, use a rectal thermometer. But instead, we had a gun thermometer. And we do the gun thermometer, and it's like, I don't know if it was 103 or 105. And I just like lost it. Like I was like, we're going to the hospital right now. My mom and dad came. Ryan's mom was in town at the time. Mind you, she's 5 days old. We go into the emergency room. They take her temperature. She's like 98 point whatever. And they're like, are you sure she had a fever? And I was like, I swear to you, we took it twice. Ryan, did you see it? Yeah, I saw it. And they're like, okay, look, it doesn't seem like she has a fever right now, but we are extremely conservative. And I'm glad they are. I'm glad they're conservative because
That's what the medical system is for in emergency cases. Yeah.
right, in emergency cases, you want to be conservative. So they're like, when a child is this age, like we're concerned with like encephalitis and sepsis and, we check everything. So we're going to do blood draw. We do catheter. They had to do like a swab for her eye because obviously her eye was involved. And then we do spinal tap. And just watching my child, like them bend her in half to get like the space between the vertebrae. They couldn't get it the first time, had to do it again. I'm like, what a horrible experience for a baby to go through. They couldn't get the catheter in because Rhea was like 5 pounds. She was a tiny little baby.
She was
tiny. And I just like, oh, what did I do to my child just because we were irresponsible and didn't do the rectal thermometer? And then
irresponsible.
I mean, you just don't know.
You don't know
right?
what
You
you're
just don't.
doing.
Well, same with you, right? It's like you just don't know, and I mean, to give them the trauma of a spinal tap or a laser to the mouth is better than having,
Yeah.
a baby who never gains weight or a baby who,
Yeah.
has encephalitis. So
For
you're
sure.
just you're sort of like, and so yeah, I teeter on like, do I regret that? Like, is that something I regret doing or? But yeah, wonder
Yeah.
what that imprinted on her nervous system, and it's like my sister and I talk about this often. Like, we're not going to get it right. We're not going to get it perfectly right. And also, the things that our parents didn't get right are the things that we had to overcome are the formative experiences and like we'll call them little T traumas that helped us become who we are.
Yeah.
And so in a way, it's like the gifts of their becoming as well. So just I try to keep that context.
Yeah, we're human and like I was saying earlier, like we have to have those experiences at the expense of our child. But just like us, they're going to grow up and be adults and like we can tell them, and if they want to do some inner child healing with it, great. They can. They at least know because we'll remember for them. But like we have to have those experiences of outsourcing our intuition to know what it is and how we find it inside of ourselves. I mean, I think I've said this before, but like I am in just with the potty training and whatever moving forward, even just like receiving suggestions from people, I'm like, I don't want to hear it from you.
Yeah.
Unless I'm asking.
Yeah.
Because it's going to come from inside me.
Yeah.
You know, like I went through a phase of reading a lot of books and absorbing a lot of information, which I'm super grateful for. And I know there will be more periods of that. But like right now, I'm in a very minimal consumption of information phase because of exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah. I feel like that too. I feel like the more that our children reveal to us who they are at this point, having had the polar experience of trying other people's formulas and systems on our children. I think you said it last time, like those systems exist because someone just recorded what worked for their kid.
Yeah.
And it works for similarly temperamented children and probably similarly temperamented adults. Like, but it, so you can find your own system that works for your child. And as long as you're tapped in and know them. And I think, just to loop it back around to the beginning of the conversation, continually walk that line of like, my child needs me right now versus I can push my child a little bit. Like in the car on the way to the airport. During sleep training, I learned that what Rhea's dysregulated nervous system cry sounds like. And so when I hear it, like I was taking Claudia to the airport, usually she can just fall asleep in the car by herself. But the past 3 days, she's been needing me to hold her hand because she's regressing. And I could hear her and she was just like, Mommy, please, please, like panicking. And I was like, oh no, this is not a time to push. This is a time to reach back and safely do both things at the same time. Like, and so it's just, but if I would have like listened to someone else's system, it's like, no, you just say no. And then you hold the boundary. And it's like, well, that's not real life. Sometimes I need more from my man or from my friend.
Right.
And it's teaching them that flexibility.
Yeah.
Which requires a lot of presence.
Totally. I think that was what was triggering about with my mom being here when I was going through all this. And even just some, like Theo, when he's in the car seat and he's getting sleepy, he'll be like, owie, owie, owie. And he's just tired. He just doesn't want to go to sleep. Yeah. And my mom was like, I was trying to figure out what was wrong with him. And I was like, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, Mom, she doesn't have the same level of knowing him. You know what I mean? Totally. And so when she's like trying to give me suggestions about his behavior and stuff, I'm like, I don't want to hear it. Like lovingly. Yeah. I don't want to hear it. And yeah, so the more we know our child, the more we know when to push and the more we know when to hold them.
To fall back. Yeah. It's so beautiful.
Yeah.
Wow. And maybe one day we'll write a book.
Yeah. Or just keep podcasting because who reads books? Who reads any books anymore? I audiobook everything, girl. What are you talking about?
I know. So we really enjoyed this conversation. We hope you guys did too and saw yourself in it, heard yourself in it, felt yourself in it.
Take some deep breaths with us if you hear them.
And thanks for listening.
Yeah. We love you, whoever you are. And we'll chat with you next time.
See you next time. Bye.
Bye.